Welcome in Nicodemus Minde. He is a researcher with the East Africa Peace and Security Governance Program at the Institute for Security Studies. He joins us from Nairobi. Nicodemus, let me just start first with your reaction to what we are seeing on the streets today. Does it come as a surprise to you at all?
Well, later developments during the day are quite a surprise, but up until the afternoon, the protesters were quite peaceful. We saw that in last week, and of course, the 2 days of last week, that is on Tuesday and Thursday, and today they had also planned a peaceful protest until we saw them breaking into parliament buildings. Then it now turned to be bloody. So to be honest, it's quite unprecedented, but I'm also not so surprised because the Kenyan police are known to be quite brutal to protesters in general.
Can you talk to us a little bit about what is actually in this bill? And we had previous reporting that the government was willing to make certain concessions, I want to say on bread, on other items. Just help us understand what is in this bill and clearly what has upset so many people there.
So this bill, the finance bill, is part of this budget cycle of 2024-2025, in which, these are government projections in terms of how to collect revenues. And of course, as part of the attempt is actually to raise more taxes, especially that will actually go to paying a lot of external debt. So this particular bill introduces a number of clauses and recommendations, tax recommendations on income tax, excess duty, withholding tax, that covers a wide breadth of citizen issues. And of course, the government, having noted a number of concerns, were able to make a number of recommendations, including the concession around the 16% VAT that was to be introduced on bread, and of course a 2.5% on motor vehicles, on imported motor vehicles. So this is part of the larger problem, but of course the finance bill is also seen as triggered previous grievances, such as misappropriation of government funds especially, and then high runaway corruption, and of course lavish spending by the government. So this has actually sparked previous grievances as seen by the street protesters.
Fascinating. So talk to me a little bit about that, those concerns about government spending, those concerns about, at least from the protesters' point of view, lavish lifestyles being lived by some in power there, but also the debt burden piece of this.
So if you look at it from an economic point of view, most of the Kenyan government budget that has been projected for 2024-2025 actually is going to cover debt, external debt. And of course, we are seeing that the budget cycle also introduces a number of expenses which the protesters, and of course not just protesters, ordinary citizens, see to be not very necessary. For example, renovation of the deputy president, premises. There's also a big kitty that goes to the office of the spouses of the president and the deputy president, which again has really angered this particular citizens. And of course, this also we're also seeing a number of introduction to these taxes actually targeting women and youth who are part of this younger generation, who feel that there is a strong tax burden that is already too much for them. If you look at their pay slips, for example, there's a lot of money that goes to housing levy, NHIF and other forms of taxation. So it's already a big burden to these consumers. And of course, it makes life very difficult in terms of buying essential commodities such as bread, oil, and of course, fuel.
Nicodemus, you make such an interesting point there, that there is real concerns about cost of living for people there, but it's also the optics about some of where in this latest budget the money would go. From your perspective, do you think if the government was to concede some of those renovations, for example, do you think that would go over better with protesters, even if some of these tax increases were necessary?
I think there was the finance bill timing, and of course, was very much, I think,
I'm sorry, Nicodemus, continue your thought. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Should I proceed?
Yes, please.
All right. So I don't think there'll be any.
Okay, we may be having technical issues. Nicodemus Minde, we'll leave it here, but we appreciate your insights and perspectives as we try to better understand the legislation here. Thank you very much for the time.